Discuss the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. The mastermind behind the largest Ponzi scheme in history dies in federal prison, and Japan faces major hurdles with 100 days until the Tokyo Olympics.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The CDC holds an emergency hearing on the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, now paused for use after blood clots were discovered in at least 6 people. This is KOAM News at Noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Tapping our first 7 minutes. Missouri, Kansas, and Oklahoma health leaders have joined other states in suspending distribution of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Investigators are still trying to determine whether the shot is directly linked to the blood clotting cases. All 50 states agreed to follow the CDC's recommendation, but in a private call with the White House, some state leaders voiced concerns the decision could increase vaccine hesitancy. Well, officials say Johnson & Johnson accounts for only about 5% of the vaccine doses administered in the U.S. to date. Local health officials say if you've received the J&J vaccine, don't be alarmed. Just be aware of potential severe symptoms, and those include severe headaches, difficulty moving, shortness of breath, and pain in the legs or abdomen.
If you've just recently received the vaccination, just be aware. Chances are high that you're not going to experience any side effects, that it's going to be a safe vaccine, but there are rare instances that have occurred.
Bergner says if you do experience severe symptoms within 3 weeks of your dose, you should seek medical attention with your primary care physician. Well, the pause in Johnson & Johnson vaccine coincides with a push by some colleges and universities to require students to be inoculated by the fall semester. Rutgers University was the first to announce the requirement, and now at least a dozen schools are mandating students be vaccinated before returning to campus. Most colleges and universities already mandate several vaccines like measles, mumps, and rubella, also known as MMR. Rutgers University president says there will always be exemptions for both religious and health reasons. Masks are now optional for students in the Cherryville, Kansas school district instead of mandatory. The school board made the decision Monday night. The board also voted to cease daily temperature checks and to eliminate social distancing requirements in classrooms. The board voted 5-1 in favor of the measures that they say will return an element of normalcy to the students. Well, you've still got the green light on the lawnmower forecast today, but for how much longer? Michael Hayslip joins us with the first look.
Okay, yeah, I'm not going to let you jump me like that. Hang on. If we just stay here on this 2-shot, guess what I can do for you? Yeah. There you go.
Thank you.
And Tanya's exactly right. We're looking at the good category for both Wednesday and Thursday, but if you want to get anything done outside, I tell you what, look out for Friday because we know we've got changes on the horizon. Today's been absolutely delightful as the cloud cover has ducked off to the south. Most of the 4 states involved with a whole bunch of blue sky, and even the morning thunderstorm activity that dominated Arkansas pre-sunrise is now a thing of the past. As we look at our noontime temperatures ranging anywhere from the low 50s, because we need a little bump up early on, all the way into the 60s, 61 in Joplin, 62 right now in Oswego. Let's roll 59 in Lamar. Now, as we progress through our Wednesday, we're going to top out about mid-60s. I mean, very delightful afternoon. Got to keep a little bit of clouds on those panels because it's not going to fall off the south too fast. But 2 things we need to talk about. Number 1, as we progress into Thursday morning, we are going to pick up some patchy frost. Look at us dropping down right there. We'll be anywhere from the mid-30s to the low 40s. So if you took that Easter weekend and grabbed some outdoor plants, I completely understand. Just may want to bring them in or bag them up. But then Thursday day, we're looking fine. But look at what's developing out to the west. And here we go on Friday. We're talking about widespread rain beginning in the morning and taking us into the evening hours with temperatures only in the low 50s. Setting up for a chilly April weekend. Now, while our rain does kind of back off on Saturday and Sunday, Tanya, not much bump as far as temperatures go. Positive aspect of it all. As the rain rolls in, we're going to update the severe thunderstorm risk map. We stay out of the fray.
That is good. Very good to hear. All right, thanks, Michael. Well, the man who fooled Wall Street for decades with a massive Ponzi scheme died this morning in federal prison. Bernie Madoff was sentenced to life behind bars for pulling off a fraud that shattered his family and his investors. The 82-year-old died from natural causes. Diane King Hall reports.
Bernard Madoff spent his final years behind bars, serving a 150-year prison sentence for pulling off one of the biggest frauds in history. His scheme swindled thousands of investors out of their life savings. Before making his name on Wall Street, Madoff grew up in a middle-class suburb of New York, where he married his high school sweetheart, Ruth. He started his investment business with $5,000 in savings and set up shop in the financial capital in the 1960s. He served as head of the NASDAQ in the 90s, and his list of clients grew to include high society, charities, and lifelong friends.
That betrayal is very difficult for me, because this was a man who we were friends for 35 years and investors for 25 years.
The fraud collapsed in 2008 when he confessed to his two sons that nearly $20 billion had evaporated in a decades-long Ponzi scheme. The next year, he pleaded guilty to fraud and admitted forging client statements with fictional profits. He told the court he was deeply sorry and ashamed. The confession brought no comfort to his victims.
40 years of savings and all my pension, my entire IRA. Nothing left. I'm on food stamps.
The courts auctioned Madoff's homes and yacht to help compensate victims, but investors were shattered, and so was Madoff's family, trapped under a cloud of suspicion. His son Mark committed suicide in 2010. The other son, Andrew, died of cancer 4 years later, and his wife Ruth cut him off.
No comments at this time.
Without family or friends, Madoff complained he had no visitors in prison, just time to reflect on his crime and his punishment. Diane King Hall, CBS News, New York.
Last year, Madoff's lawyers tried to get him released, saying he was suffering from chronic medical conditions, including end-stage renal disease. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at noon.
COVID is affecting the countdown to the Olympics. I'm Ian Lee with how the pandemic will shape this summer's games.
And later, we're making a penne pasta toss in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. We are inching closer to the Summer Olympic Games in Tokyo, despite being postponed for a year and an upsurge in Japan's COVID cases. Officials say the show will go on. CBS's Ian Lee has the latest.
When Japan won the right to host the Olympic Games, it sold itself as a safe pair of hands. Nearly 8 years and a pandemic later, nothing is safe and nothing is certain.
We have COVID-19 spreading in Tokyo. We have medical professionals here questioning why the games are going on, saying it's too big a risk.
A new wave of COVID cases even forced the torch relay off public roads. But with 100 days to go and roughly $15 billion invested, Olympic officials say the games will go on. Just expect them to look different.
There'll be no fans from abroad here. Athletes will be in quarantine most of the time.
Hundreds of American athletes will join roughly 15,000 competitors from around the world.
They are absolutely 100% focused on preparation for games that should happen and that they believe will happen.
Olympians don't have to be vaccinated, but will be given hand sanitizer and masks. Officials hope that will be enough to get the games to the finish line. Ian Lee, CBS News.
Up to 80% of people in Japan want the games to be canceled or delayed, especially with less than 1% of the country vaccinated. Still to come on the KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
Imagine a pasta dish that you can have on your table faster than you can order and pick up takeout. I kid you not. Plus, this is so much better.
But first, Michael Hayslip returns with your complete forecast.
One of those perfect April mornings where if you were looking up, and I promise you, I tried to direct the sky camera here outside of Television City to get a good shot of some jet contrails, as of course we're in flyover country. Just couldn't pick one up. But earlier this morning, the humidity was low and the skies were perfect to watch the jets flying by. 61 degrees is where we stand right now. Just so comfortable for this time of year. Don't have to worry about, that abnormal warm up like what we had on Sunday. At the same point in time, certainly certainly not too chilly to do anything outside. Neodesha looks like our clubhouse leader right now, chiming in at 63 degrees. We'll go 61 in Joplin, and still a slew of high to mid 50s running from Miami into Monette. And Carthage just now making 60 degrees. Actually, we're sitting about 58 when we started the show. Cloud cover moving off to the south. Everybody's received the warm up. You know, earlier the northwestern section of the 4 states was actually sitting in the 30s, but that was a result of clearing skies. And now that the sun has been a part of our morning, all the thunderstorm activity that was riding through central Arkansas, it moved, and it moved quickly. And while it's training off to the northeast there, the jet stream able to push it down to the Gulf Coast, where they've even had thunderstorm activity lasting through portions of Louisiana, Mississippi, and eventually Alabama. We've got a weak high pressure system that's made its way in just through portions of Nebraska and Kansas. That's what forced everything down to the south. And then you see the jet stream kind of riding that up through Appalachia up to the east coast. A little bit of a trough of the jet stream beginning to form at the four corners there, but not a whole lot of action associated with it. Closed off low. Look at that thing circling around right there. That's bad news up in the Great Lakes. That means a whole lot of cold temperatures and a whole lot of snow to go along with their rain. As a matter of fact, I don't know if anybody saw it yesterday, but the Minnesota Twins actually playing baseball in flurries. So let's find ourselves fortunate, because while our average high this time of year would actually be about 70 degrees, today was the magical day where it becomes 70. Mid 60s is not too bad. It is absolutely gorgeous outside because we don't have to put up with that high wind just coming in from the north, a good 5 to 10 miles per hour. That's it. Now, as we've gradually cleared off, we're going to see the clouds reemerge for the late evening hours and then clear off by the morning. Here's the important thing about the clouds clearing off tomorrow morning. That's going to bring us patchy frost. I know a lot of people probably did some lawnscaping and got those plants over Easter. It's been absolutely delightful to have them outside up until now. So anything that we want to do outside, I know we call it the mowing forecast, but I think I may just amend that here in the next coming weeks. We'll just call it the outdoor forecast, because Tanya brought up a great point. You may have kids' soccer games. You may have little kids doing t-ball or baseball or softball practice. And Wednesday and Thursday, those are going to be perfect for it. But by the time we get to Friday, it's probably about time to get ready to get inside. And even Saturday, while we got chances for scattered rain, it is going to be extremely chilly for this time of year. So let's talk future track as we push into Thursday morning. Watch our temperatures slowly drop as the cloud cover moves off. And so number one, frost is going to be a concern. Now Thursday afternoon, like I said, anything you got to get done outside, we're looking absolutely glorious. As those clouds emerge on Thursday evening, here comes the rain out from the west. This is going to be widespread. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we lucked out. Well, for those of you to the south, yeah, you got rain, but it wasn't serious by any means. Friday is going to be all-encompassing, and temperatures going to be just around 50 degrees, so cold and rainy. Here's our silver lining, though. When the rain does move in, we avoid anything on the severe thunderstorm risk map. A look at the 7-day forecast. We'll cut down our chances for rain on Saturday and Sunday. It'll be more of the scattered variety, but still, it's going to be chilly out there, and coming off of Friday, it's already going to be muddy.
I like the idea of amending that to an outdoor forecast, but what would you use as the icon? Your little lawnmowers are perfect.
I think I can keep what if we keep the lawn? I'm going to throw this at you. This is called producing on the fly, folks. So what if I keep the lawnmowers for the icons, but we change it to the outdoor forecast, and somehow I slip a soccer ball and a baseball in there?
Yeah. You could have like a graphic go over the front where it's like somebody's hitting a home run or something, like, and that's what you get, the lawnmowers.
Folks, tune in for the KOAM morning news for a brand new graphic.
Oh, I'm excited to see how this turns out. All right, thanks, Michael. We take this time to honor today's 4-state hero, Specialist 4th Class Rick LeMasters in the U.S. Army. The soldier from Jasper, Missouri, joined the 311th Armored Cavalry Regiment in 1966. LeMasters earned the Combat Infantry Badge, the Vietnam Campaign Ribbon with 2 clusters, and a Marksmanship Medal. To Specialist Rick LeMasters, we thank you, our 4-state hero. Spring is here, and so is the need for spring recipes, just like the one you're about to see today. Howard shows us how to make his super tasty penne pasta toss in the Mr. Food Test kitchen.
After what seems like a long winter of making all sorts of warm-you-up pasta dishes, we thought it was about time that we went lighter and brighter. That's why today we're making a pasta toss that's quick to throw together, is easy on the wallet, and is as fresh tasting as can be. We start by cooking some penne pasta and draining it really well. Meanwhile, in a skillet, we saute some onion and yellow bell pepper that we've chopped in a bit of olive oil. After they're tender, we add a couple of tomatoes that we've chunked up, some Kalamata olives, and to give this its big taste, we toss in some sliced garlic and salt and pepper. Once the tomatoes cook down a bit, we'll add the pasta back in, along with some sliced basil and Parmesan cheese. There you have it, a pasta dish that's fresh tasting and perfect to serve right through the end of the summer. To get the recipe for what we call our penne pasta toss, all you have to do is visit our website. You know, you could even add some cooked chicken or shrimp to this if you want. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a anytime easy way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
You can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Here's a look at our 4 state market prices.
No worries this afternoon, but I do want everybody to remember, let's expect patchy frost to roll in tomorrow morning. Take care of those outdoor plants and enjoy a marvelous Thursday, because Friday is going to be rainy and is going to be cold.
All right, what do we have coming up tonight at 5?
Well, at 5, with federal health officials announcing a pause on the Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine, there are some worries that more people will think twice about getting vaccinated. In Health Watch, why experts recommend everyone who can be vaccinated get the shot. Plus, as numbers of fully vaccinated people continues to rise in the area, just how long will the vaccine last? We're going to provide some insight from local health professionals. And Joplin School District breaks ground on its newest school, Dover Hill Elementary, after voters approved that issue last year. Hope you join us for those stories. A lot more, of course. It's all coming up on KOAM News at 5, Tanya.
All right, thank you, Dow. Thanks for joining us for KOAM News at noon. We'll be right back. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.